All right, welcome. Today we're talking about how to build a distinctive B2B brand and some misguided advice that keeps you from doing it. Building a distinctive brand is absolutely critical for your business. It helps your prospects and customers quickly identify you. But as I said, there's some misguided advice that's keeping you from building your distinctive brand. The common advice is that we need to build distinctive brand assets. But our goal shouldn't be to build distinctive brand assets. Our goal should be to build a distinctive brand. Here's the reality. B2B brands rarely achieve individual distinctive brand assets. Research from the B2B Institute shows that in the CRM category, for instance, only Microsoft's logo actually was a distinctive brand asset. What does that mean? It means Salesforce wasn't in there. HubSpot wasn't in there. You know how much they spend on their marketing, and they still did not achieve distinctive brand assets. So what are we going to do as smaller B2B brands? In the research from the B2B Institute, only Microsoft, Google, and Amazon achieve truly distinctive brand assets. Now, what is about those three companies? A, they're huge, and B, they have consumer-facing products as well. So maybe that leads into the reason why they're able to build these distinctive brand assets. Here's the truth about brand distinctiveness. As Nick Liddell points out in his terrific LinkedIn article, definitely go take a look at it. He's got some great insights in terms of how to build a distinctive brand and some examples. But this is what he says in his article. It's much more helpful and realistic to think about how your brand elements work collectively to create fame and uniqueness, rather than obsessing about wringing out as much fame or uniqueness as possible from each individual element. Now, that being said, I still think thinking about distinctive brand assets is valuable. B2B brands often suffer from being too safe and too similar. Approaching asset development with the idea that we want to create assets that could be famous and unique will push you to be bolder and more distinct. I mean, if you look at, I was just looking at a category today, and every single brand looked the same. But if we go through and think about our assets and like, what can we do to create assets that could be famous on their own, that are unique on their own, that will create distinct brands? It just doesn't exist today. And so this thinking can still be very valuable. So how do we actually build a distinctive B2B brand? Well, the first thing is we need to start today. We need to build a distinctive brand, and so it's an investment. On day one, there's going to be no association with your brand. But as soon as we start putting these assets, we start building those associations, we build up. And so it's important to start today. Don't put it off too long. Each day that you don't do it is a day miss. 2, select 3 or 4 elements to focus on. I mean, there's a lot of elements you could potentially use as distinctive brand assets or as brand assets. But if you do too many, it makes it difficult to manage and it muddles your message. And so you want to just focus on 3 or 4. Include some unexpected elements like characters or mascots, patterns, unique illustration styles. 2 of the most famous or most distinct brands in B2B are Salesforce and MailChimp. And both of them use mascots, and both of them have unique illustration styles. So it can be very effective. 4, design individual assets as if they could become famous. As I said, we want to push ourselves to be bolder and unique. B2B definitely is not suffering from being too bold and too unique. And then finally, use your combination consistently, everywhere, and forever. This is absolutely critical to make sure that you're building distinctiveness, that you're using consistently, everywhere, and forever. Here's a real world example so you can see how you actually can build a distinctive brand. In B2B, the best example is not from a company, but from a person. Harris Spavik has created a terrific, distinct brand. And he's done it by a distinct color. I mean, everyone knows his purple. A mascot, he's got a little monster that he includes in a lot of his creative. Standardized fonts, they all look the same, and then a consistent illustration style. I mean, his stuff really stands out. Go take a look at his LinkedIn feed and you'll see how distinct his brand is. One final note and a piece of constructive feedback for Harris is always include your brand name. Distinctiveness makes your brand recognizable, But if people don't associate it with your company, it won't drive business. When I went to write this post, I remembered Harris's brand. I remembered the monster and the purple color and some of his illustrations, but I couldn't remember his name because he doesn't include his name on any of his creative. And so you need to make sure you do that. It took effort for me to actually look up who Harris was. And for companies out there, prospects won't do that. So make sure you include your brand name there. It's the most effective mechanism for building your brand distinctiveness and having it associated with your company.